Hello and welcome. You're watching Eye on Port, the program that has been dedicated to bring Ghana's shipping and maritime industry closer to you. It is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, GOIL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link, and the Meridian Port Services. Eye on Port is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, and our media partner is the Business and Financial Times. Viewers, this week's edition of Eye on Port promises to bring you a lot of exciting news, so stay tuned. We'll begin with the Ocean Career Fair that was organized to bring high school students closer to the maritime industry and help them appreciate the opportunities available for them. The following story will tell us more. The Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute has hosted an ocean career fair for high school students to enable them learn more about navigating maritime career paths from industry experts. They are doing this in collaboration with the development of Ocean Technical Capacity with African Nations, DOTCAN Institute of Nova Scotia. The various seasoned maritime experts interacted with the school children on basic information about the maritime sector, spanning areas like fisheries, seafaring, cargo operations, among others. The fair also gave the opportunity to key organizations within the sector to showcase their activities and services to the young ones. According to the Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute, they are passionate about revealing opportunities within this industry to the youth for socio-economic development of the country and continent.
We believe young people rest at the fore of advancing a blue economy for Africa. If we are to think about the African situation, what's our major problem? We have high rates of unemployment, but at the same time, we also have a large number of youth who are within the entire continent. So Africa is known as a youthful continent. So we recognize these two opposing situations, right? And we recognize that from this situation, youth are the key to developing a thriving blue economy.
Similarly, the DOTCAN Institute of Nova Scotia revealed it is also keen on connecting people to opportunities and the fostering of knowledge exchange.
DOTCAN believes that adolescence is a critical time for someone to make decisions around what path they should be pursuing in life. So even though students are not in tertiary education, they're at a point where they can make critical decisions about that tertiary education. So in exposing 9th grade, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders or high school students to the diversity of careers in the blue economy is a good opportunity for the students, but also for the country to really develop and invest in that blue economy.
I love the ocean, and the career opportunity I would like to offer is the maritime security, because I want to avoid predators coming into the ocean and destroying it.
Today my concern was about SHS students who study IT. You see, most of the time when they say marine sector, most of us don't really know much about it. So I wanted to know, in terms of IT, how does IT help in the marine sector?
All I wanted was for the GES. I wanted to make it clear to the GES representative that our textbooks from a very young age, from the nursery section, the pre-tertiary section, doesn't include enough ocean materials to enlighten the students on the stuff about the marine environment, which will intrigue them to be more interested in it, and then allow them to explore it as a career choice. So I was hoping our GES system could accept my recommendations and then also consider including more marine stuff into our textbooks. So as the kids grow, they already have it at the back of their mind that they love the ocean and they want to protect it.
All right, coming on the heels of that particular event that you just witnessed, we sat with the organizers of that event, that is the Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute, to discuss how to sustainably connect the youth to blue careers. We had this interaction with Stephanie Shandorf and Lawrence Dogley, and they had a very interesting perspective to share. Take a listen.
I just want to find out from you, you cannot achieve or attain the results that you need in terms of your quest to connect the youth to blue careers if you don't have the buy-in of industry, the support of industry. I just want to find out from you what kind of support you require from industry in order that you become effective and efficient in your quest to achieve this particular dream or goal?
Okay. I think in Ghana, industry is quite doing a lot. We've seen the intent of some industry players who have shown great interest in the blue economy development. I think we are at a point where we need to mobilize more partnerships for resources that can support some of these training programs that we want to carry out for young people. And so one of the clarion calls for industry is to see how they can engage or they can build partnerships with relevant institutions, think tanks, like the Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute, to see how they can mobilize resources, how we can build expertise to provide these training opportunities, to provide transferable skills to young people who want to take up even vocational opportunities in the maritime space.
All right, so let me ask you the same question. You cannot attain results if you don't have government buy-in in your quest to connect the youth to blue careers. I just want to find out from you, what support do you require from government in order to be able to achieve this?
I think really it's about the issue of having the partnership and collaboration of government agencies, right? If we do not have their partnership or their buy-in into some of our programs and initiatives, then it becomes very difficult to move along with them and to implement them, especially when we are engaging with national entities. So that is very important. Of course, it was great during the career fair to see how some government agencies were present. The Fisheries Commission was present, set up a wonderful aquarium for the students to have the opportunity to look at and to ask questions. We had the Ghana Navy also present. So it's great to have that form of active collaboration from government agencies. But I think that the main thing is to garner collective support towards these ultimate ends and to recognize the fact that it is one shared agenda, right? The government agencies may have the tendency to focus solely on land-centric concerns, especially for those that might have only a minimal role to play in the maritime industry, right? So it's important for them to begin to recognize that, Ghana is not limited to her land alone.
Yeah.
Our ocean is also a part of our territory. When we think of Ghana as a country, we must move from the limited thinking of just visualizing our land borders. And we must begin to see the ocean as part of the land itself. Perhaps it's even important that even as we are grooming students to draw maps of Ghana, they also just try to draw the ocean territory that belongs to us as a country. So it's about seeing that this is really a collective agenda. This is a shared agenda, that we all have one purpose when it comes to the blue economy advancement. I think once government agencies begin to recognize this, once they begin to see the ocean as part of the land, and they begin to see the interest of the national interest in the ocean space, then that will be a huge step, right, towards advancing the positive outcomes we are looking for.
Now we have graduates that are being churned out, from various institutions, across the country in the shipping industry. The foremost is the Regional Maritime University and all that. And most of the time you find people, running after you whenever they hear there's an event here or there, trying to get connected and trying to get people to receive their CVs and all that in terms of, their quest to get job placements in some of these institutions. I just want to find out from you whether you would want to share with us some of the things that we should be doing in terms of creating jobs to assimilate or to accommodate, so to speak, some of these graduates that we churn out almost on a yearly basis.
Yeah. I think that the first step is to breed a new generation of entrepreneurs in the maritime industry as the next generation of job creators, right? We normally think of it in a limited sense, that we have to have, companies and industries ready to absorb these young people as they graduate. And that is true, but we must also look at breeding entrepreneurs who themselves can also create jobs in blue economy sectors. And that's one of the things that the Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute is passionate about. We are not just looking at equipping young people with the skills that they need to work in maritime industry, in the maritime industry, but we are also looking at it from a holistic point of view, that we need them to be entrepreneurs in the space. And I think another Another important thing is to generate an understanding of how other career paths also lead back to the ocean, right? So let's just take, for instance, the fact that we might have some young persons who might be passionate about the ocean. Perhaps they end up working in an accounting firm, right? There are still ways that they can meaningfully contribute to the advancement of the blue economy. There are things that they can do on the side besides their full-time regular jobs to carve their very own niche in ocean sectors. And I think this is one of the things we've been reiterating. So accountants, for instance, can begin to look into the issue of accounting for the ocean economy, right? So can economists. We can have so many permutations of career paths that circle around the ocean, even if they are not in the traditional or mainstream ocean pathways that we normally think of, such as shipping, marine biology, and so on and so forth. And then the final point is that the government must put policies in place to encourage blue economy ventures, because we talked about entrepreneurship earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, it cannot be successful without the government buy-in and without government actively putting steps in place to make sure that these young persons, once they come out, have the bandwidth that they need to be able to set up their own blue economy businesses.
Okay, so she talked about what the government can do in terms of creating jobs. And, one of the foremost things she mentioned is, entrepreneurship. I just want to find out from you, the maritime training institutions that channel these graduates have a role to play in terms of encouraging them or guiding them to navigate in terms of placing them on jobs or getting them to start their own businesses like, Stephanie just said. What should they be doing?
I think for the maritime training institutions, one of the things that, and this, I think it's always interconnected, because when you're looking at maritime training institutions, we are looking at how they can enhance or how they can build the capacities of the students. And so in terms of what the training institutions can do, one of the things that government can also do to support the maritime training institutions is to look at the policies, like my colleague said, develop policies that can support the training institutions in looking at the kind of research that they can also conduct in the area of entrepreneurship and career opportunities.
Right.
And so when you're looking at the curriculums, we are looking at the modules, we are looking at policies, guided policies, comprehensive action plans that can support the training models that these maritime training institutions will develop. One of the trends that we are seeing now is the spring up of maritime training institutions. But it's important that a sector analysis is conducted to look at sectors that are readily investable, sectors that we can build skills, or sectors that we can identify skills gap. And that should be a collaboration between the maritime training institutions and industry to identify the skills gap that needs to be filled. I think an example is the recently ended ECOBANK shipping forum. Yes, that's an example of a platform where young people should be involved. We should get to know the perception of young people when it comes to Africa's shipping industry. What are the challenges that they think they can identify? And also hear firsthand from the industry people about what the challenges are. And I think when we have a better knowledge, or when we are better informed about these challenges, then it can maritime training institutions can also be better informed to develop training programs or models that can build the skills, that can build the knowledge of young people to come up with solutions or to build their skills and be ready to address some of these challenges that we face in the maritime.
All right.
So the Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute is saying that government, academia and industry must collaborate to ensure that youth are connected to blue careers. According to them, it is a sure way to inch closer to attaining the Sustainable Development Goals. Now that we've heard from them, let us now hear from you on your comments on the subject we have just discussed after we go on break, and we'll be back with more news. My name is Patricia Imadina. I get very gladdened to see youth leaders like these champion a good cause. Kudos. All this advocacy may be futile if there aren't opportunities to take up the youth. So great work by the Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute, but industry and government needs to do more. Kluche from Legon here. In terms of entrepreneurship, how can graduates be entrepreneurs? What jobs can young people create right after school? Can they help me? This is Kingsley from Tema.
Right.
One thing that is also key is that we need to recognize that there's the diversification of maritime sectors, where you can start to look at other areas that you can use technology or digital tools and platforms to make work easier. And so while young people are complaining about the unavailability of jobs, it's also important that they start building themselves with digital skills and see how they can use these transferable skills to support the industry. For Stephanie and I think one of the things young people should also recognize is that they should go out there, they should dare to dream and go out there and create something for themselves.
Every now and again, GOIL makes good things happen. This time, GOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GOIL has that sorted. GOIL, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse. And my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Welcome back from the break. Now let us move on to our local news segment. The director of the Keta Port project, Dr. Alexander Yao Edusei, has disclosed that the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has since 2022 begun preliminary engagements with parties who have expressed interest in developing the port facility. He said out of about 16 companies engaged, the authority believes about 6 have demonstrated prospect for further engagements. In the meantime, the director of the Ports project is hopeful that by September 2023, the environmental and social impact assessment is completed to make way for the next necessary steps towards building the port.
And they cannot give you a formidable document unless we have given them the feasibility study and environmental impact for them to be able to, from there, put something on the table. Because those two documents give them what they need to know for their investment purposes. But in the meantime, we've advanced that discussion. We are hoping that somewhere by June, July, we will request these 6 entities to bring a request, or we will request for proposal from them.
He was speaking during a forum in the town of Keji, where the port will be situated. The aim of the forum was intended to sensitize the Keji community and its surroundings about the realities of the port project and to debunk certain misconceptions surrounding it and the community. It was also an opportunity for the indigents themselves to ask questions pertaining to the project. Dr. Alexander Edusei emphasized the desire of the Port Authority and the government of Ghana to ensure that the port project is strategically phased out to ensure the port becomes the catalyst for the economic development of the area.
This port is a well thought of plan. It is not going to be built in a day. It is a gradual process. Something will start, something will be added on, and 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line, we will still be building because new ideas will come.
The Dufia of Keji, Togbi Akolache V, assured the indigents of his faith in the port project.
From what I've seen so far and my engagement with the GPHA, I have a full belief, or should I say faith, that a project like this will come to fruition. It's not a 9-day wonder project. People are expecting a lot more, and we should understand them. Okay, but what we have to always guard against is the politics around it. Let's put the politics aside.
Only in the month of March 2023, 3 cruise ships with a total of 3,790 passengers on board called the port of Takoradi. The vessels include the 285-meter-long Zuidam, which arrived on March 25 with 2,272 passengers on board. It is the largest cruise ship to call the port. Preceding the Zuidam's call was the Azamara Journey, which called the port on March 14 with 694 passengers, followed by the Insignia, which arrived on March 23 with 824 passengers. It is the first time in the port's history to record cruise vessel calls in such a quick succession.
And the people that are coming down to go on advertised tours, Sunseekers tours, are 344 passengers or guests that have disembarked to go on various tours, some here within the 3 cities of Secondary and Takoradi. 1 bus going to Kakum National Park, and 4 buses are going to do the forts and castles and visit some schools and some villages.
Until recently, the port was observing a 2-year break for passenger vessels since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, which caused the Ghana Tourism Authority to place a moratorium on such vessels.
Then there was a slump because of COVID. But we've been saying that there's a rebound because last year we had close to 946,000 in terms of tourists. In 2023, the minister has given us 1.3 million as tourists that we are expecting to come. But the key aspect that we are now marketing is a domestic tourism drive.
ECOBANK Ghana PLC has held the maiden edition of the Shippers Forum in the port city of Tema. The event was a platform to elicit views from players in the shipping industry and to enable officials of the bank appreciate issues affecting industry players so as to proffer tailor-made solutions to ameliorate these issues. Public sector agencies including the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Ghana Maritime Authority, Ghana Shippers Authority, and the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority participated in a plenary session where they answered questions on steps and measures they are taking to ensure free flow of business at the ports.
With the shipping lines coming up with new vessels, there was overcapacity. With the overcapacity, suddenly now, as we speak, freight rate is going down significantly. And the shipping lines, if they will be honest with you, they are sweating already because of what is going on. Now, so coming home, how has that impacted us? We are realizing very clearly that the volumes of our shipments, is going down.
We have worked with the stakeholder community to ensure that we put in place for us to be able to clear goods unhindered. We did see a rise. Between 2020 and 2021, we didn't experience a drop in cargo. We rather saw 19% growth in the cargo. It is after that period, the 2021 and the 2022, that we began to feel the pinch of it. There was a drop in the bulk, as you said, if we leave them out. Majorly, it was a drop in bulk cargo of cement, gypsum, wheat, and then some petroleum products which were coming from the Baltic region, that is Russia and Ukraine, leading to 12.6% drop in cargo. And that trend has continued even till now.
Managing Director of ECOBANK Ghana PLC, Daniel Nikwe Kumasaki, expatiated on the rationale behind the shipping forum.
And we believe after this session, when the stakeholders, the various stakeholders, and the various panelists have had their say, we'll be able to walk away with takeaways. Those takeaways should empower me and you. Those takeaways should position us to better understand the evolving challenges, should position us to better deal with some of the shortfalls we see in revenues, should position us to better fund your investments to make your businesses grow.
Some officials of the bank threw more light on measures being adopted by the bank to support the shipping industry.
It is important that we let the people in the ecosystem of the maritime sector get to know that this is a committed organization to the sector, over 2 decades of commitment to the sector. This time we are taking it to the next level of providing the required financing, the required cash management and payment instruments that will ensure that the industry will continue to thrive in spite of the challenges that we face currently.
Now let us move to the international scene and pick a few shipping and maritime related news. Europol, the EU agency charged with preventing and combating international and organized crime, has issued its first report exploring how organized crime infiltrates the ports of Europe. Detailing its findings and releasing the 24-page report in The Hague, Europol said that it believes criminal networks are constantly evolving in their techniques as they are increasingly working towards infiltration of and control over major logistical points. The agency is calling for increased cooperation and awareness and focused efforts to address the challenges of crime in Europe's ports. Europol said that Europe's 3 biggest ports of Antwerp, Hamburg, Bremerhaven, and Rotterdam are among the most targeted for criminal infiltration, although organized crime networks are also expanding into smaller ports as a means of avoiding enforcement. In the last few years, the estimates that at least 200 tons of cocaine have been trafficked through the ports of Amsterdam and Rotterdam alone. In a related development, a large-scale multi-month sting operation organized by 2 UN agencies and the Australian Border Force resulted in the seizure of nearly 99 tons of cocaine, which will be worth about $3.4 billion wholesale on the European market and at least twice as much at retail. The majority of the seizures in the Operation Tin Can were taken from shipping containers. The Australian Border Force, World Customs Organization, and the UN Office on Drugs and Crime led a sweeping operation which spanned 58 different countries and over 100 drug seizures. The major container carriers provided support for the bust, which aimed to crack down on insider threats in the maritime supply chain as well as individual consignments of cocaine. It's now time for our Word of the Day segment, where we introduce words, phrases, jargons, and terminologies that we often use in this industry so you can get familiar with them. Today we'll tell you what the cruise ship is. A cruise ship is a vessel that carries people on voyages for pleasure, where the voyage itself and the ship's amenities are a part of the experience, as well as the different destinations, including ports of call and port cities along the way. Now let us take a look at the schedule of vessels that have berth in the port, those at anchorage and those expected in the coming weeks, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rate, which you may need to know to clear your cargo with. This is where we close today's edition of Eye on Port. We hope you've been informed and educated. Remember, all Eye on Port content and news and episodes can be found on our YouTube channel, Eye on Port. Subscribe, like, and give us feedback. Thank you for watching.